Okay, so now we've got an amazing session where we want to talk about ports. It doesn't sound super sexy at the beginning, you say ports, but the thing is that ports are now like the big real thing. Ports are no longer something about logistics. Ports are now becoming dynamic platforms, platforms for sustainability, innovation, global collaboration. They're doing amazing things. And for instance, we've got the Port of Barcelona, who's no longer just a gateway for foods. Now it's becoming a hub for sustainable innovation. We've seen amazing digital transformation down there and global collaboration. So we've got there lots of people working together from biotech to blue economy startups. And that's why we want to explore with this session let's say how technology is just reshaping this maritime sector and facing climate change and many other economy models. And to do that, we've got with us, and I've been struggling with the surnames and names with them just a second ago. We've got with us Stewart Sarkozy-Banockzy from World Ocean Council, Lee Carpenter from Braid Theory, and Anjaney Borwankar from, I don't know what's the name of the company. No, we didn't check the company, we checked the surname, which is Navozyme, I think. You'll correct me. And it's going to chair it, Emma Cobos from Port of Barcelona. Please, welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the biggest challenge to be today will be all these people need to leave being aware that ports are sexy. That's because of you, what you said. We are really offended here, so we need to play back. Okay, so thank you everyone for being here. Today, we first will go through a round of presentations because I have here very impressive biographies, maybe just for you to know who's in front of you. But then after I talk a bit about your biographies, I would like you to explain what you do at your job. What's your job related to ports, okay? So we're gonna start with Anjaney, very hard name. Did I say it right? Yeah?
Yes.
Learning? Okay, so you are co-founder and chief executive officer of Navozyme. It's not a startup, it's a scale-up. And it's really a company that provides solutions based on software as a service and using blockchain and AI. You're a blockchain and AI expert. And you're working between Spain and Singapore. So you know Asian market, also Spanish market, European market. So that view is quite interesting. You've been a seagoing officer, so you know the sea from another point of view that we probably here do not know of. You've been at McKinsey, you've been at AP Moller Maersk, you have an MBA from IESE Business School, and you're also a former Oxford alumni. So very heavy bio. Let me just introduce to you Lee Carpenter. Anne is the CEO and founder of Braid Theory. Braid Theory is an accelerator very specialized on blue economy, on maritime, ports, but on blue economy. And you're also at the boards of Smart Freight Center and Ocean Exchange, which I think it's interesting to give a complete picture of acceleration, but also other solutions, sustainability, climate change, shipping, and so on. And Stewart, you're CEO of the World Ocean Council. You can tell us a bit more about it. The World Ocean Council is headquartered in Barcelona, and you're also co-founder of the company Octopus. And you're a senior ocean fellow for Northeast Maritime Industry in Massachusetts. So you're a teacher on maritime, on blue economy. And also at the International University of Catalonia, also here in Barcelona. And you're based in Barcelona, but traveling abroad to the US a lot. Okay, so let's start. If you tell me what you do related to ports, to technology, And let's see how sexy is your work.
I'll try. So one word would be, we are the innovator. That's how they call us. One sentence would be, we transform maritime ahead of time, hopefully not too ahead of time. So what do we exactly do? So as Emma said, I've been previously, in my previous life, literally at sea, navigating ships. And I lived with a lot of problems at that time. I hate paperwork, filling out forms, stamps, seals, signatures. But every ship that comes in a port and leaves a port has a lot of regulatory paperwork to complete. And I just thought that was my life at that time, till I discovered some other technologies. So in a nutshell, what we do is make the lives of the maritime community simpler by using deep tech, particularly AI and blockchain, to ensure that the data from the source reaches wherever it needs to reach, without any tampering, without any change in the process, right? Now, that's one example of the work we do. I'll bring it down to another simple example. So if you watch, when you're landing in a port, even Barcelona, you will see ships waiting, right? Singapore is a great example. You see hundreds of ships waiting. Now, why are they waiting? They should not be waiting. They should be either in the port or sailing towards their destination. So usually they're waiting because something is not available or ready. The services that they've come to the port for, right? If you go to first principles, the need of the port exists because that's the best way right now, with water having less friction than land, et cetera, et cetera. So basically what we do, one of our solutions, is to try and have this coordination of information so that the ship can come and leave in a most efficient manner. So what we're trying to do is make the waiting time 0. And when that happens, what it means is you save on fuel, you save on the carbon footprint, and of course, everyone makes a lot of money, and the price of goods may come down, right? So that's the kind of global goal, and we are working on solutions related with that.
Thank you.
So I'll stop here, but yeah.
Okay, Anne, can you tell us
Sure.
what you do?
So as CEO, I guess I wash the floor and take out the trash and everything else. But for the most part, Braid Theory, we are a vertically integrated venture advisory firm working with deep tech startups, engineering, science-led startups across all areas of blue economy. So what are some examples of the kinds of companies we work with? Types like Navozyme, when we're looking at improving efficiencies in and around the port, we often, for this audience here today in Tech Spirit, I'm super excited to be speaking to you here because we are looking for those that are working in in AI, in machine learning, in vision systems, in advanced communications, in cybersecurity, but to take these core technologies and see how they apply to the port and maritime environment. We also work in the marine energy space, wave, tidal, and energy from the ocean current. And one of the interesting things that I like working with is using products from the sea, seaweed and kelp, to produce value-added products such as biofuels, colorants, dyes, foods, additives that can totally, and in the future perhaps, replace the petrochemical industry. We also do a lot related to reducing emissions from the shipping sector and improving air and water quality. So we run programs in Los Angeles, where I have had the company for more than 10 years. We launched 1 year ago in Barcelona, not only to support startups here in Barcelona, but to see this as a gateway throughout the Mediterranean region and beyond.
Thank you. Stewart, let us know.
Thanks, Emma. So as Emma said, I have 2 hats, World Ocean Council and Octopus. And in the case of World Ocean Council, it is a 15-year-old global association that includes businesses, corporations, startups, some financing. We specialize in and hold a Blue Finance Summit, for instance. We just did that last month. And we have ports and cities. And so that association, in a sense, puts ports as one of our very close partners in the case of Barcelona and a few other places, but in particular here because we made our first ever sort of home port here after 15 years. So World Ocean Council brings together those ports, those corporations, those startups, and the businesses and others, including finance, that need to integrate so that a solution that goes through an accelerator finds a home somewhere, maybe via a large company like one of our members, Maersk, or the Port of Barcelona, or a combination of the two, right? So it's kind of an end and a circle that we work in. And all those different programs that we run, like the green shipping work that we've been doing, a new Center of Excellence on Coastal Resilience, tries to bring those players together. Somewhat in a similar way, but through an AI-enabled replication platform, I'm working with ports purely as clients with Octopus, where we're trying to get their solutions connected to their projects. And that means when there's something happening in the city connected to the port, whether it's Rotterdam or it's Barcelona or it's Lagos or it's Rio de Janeiro, we're trying to find ways to solve and bring together those solutions with those project owners so that financing can come in. So we're not really a fintech or specific to climate tech. We say we work from reef to roof. So for me, many of you in the audience cross over those borders from the blue to the green and the gray as well.
Okay, so your pieces of this innovation, very important pieces. But here's a question, and I think probably I shouldn't ask this question because of the title of the panel, but let's put some crisis onto it. Ports are complex ecosystems, but are they really going through innovation? Is this really a revolution? Or probably this is something I experienced because I've been working in a port for my entire life. I think a lot of things are happening, but probably you compare it to other industries and maybe something is not happening so fast. What do you think about what's going on now? Is there really, probably we have in the audience young people who are thinking about maybe going into maritime, port, shipping, supply chain, and let's give them the truth. Is something going on, or this is going to stay a traditional business like it has been for many, many centuries, I would dare to say? I want to have honest answers here.
Go ahead.
Sure. So, I've been working in this sector for more than 15 years, and I definitely have seen a huge change to the good, to embrace innovation. A lot of it is related to need. I mean, even especially related to supply chain, so much shifted with COVID because it suddenly became understandable to a broader audience, and a little bit, everybody wondered where their Amazon shipment was, and all of a sudden this idea of ships moving across the sea became more obvious. I think that also then there's a definite need, right? Because the shipping industry used to have very clear cycles, and now that has all changed. So the entire ecosystem is changing. You also have now, as you're moving to new sustainable fuels and changing over entire industries, that's ripe for opportunities for innovation. However, the speed at which startups start and the speed at which ports and the tenants and governments work, Braid Theory, we have to be the translator in many cases.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah.
Anjaney, tell us.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of change. But again, when you start from 0 and you make it 1, it looks really a big change, right? So we've got to be careful with what we are saying. Other industries are starting at 50 and moving to 100, right? So when you compare to other industries, it's definitely a dinosaur. However, for the new generation, I think the hope here is there's so much to be done. and so much of exciting things to be done, right? Which you can pick and choose from other industries and kind of fast forward this one. So, I think it's an adolescent with a tremendous energy, tremendous potential, lots of willingness to do lots of things, but we have to channelize it a little bit, because if not, it can go the wrong way. I'll give you an example, right? So I'm a startup, scale-up founder. Funding is important. When you look at maritime-specific funding, especially rather than the general blue economy, if you look at port-specific, right? Now there are some things from Ports 4.0, et cetera, over the last 3-4 years. But Navozyme started in 2017, okay, pre-COVID. There's really nothing there, right? So that has changed tremendously. No, I don't know how much time, but these accelerators didn't exist at that time. So you really had
2016 we started.
2016, okay, so you got me before, right? So we are the innovators here. No, but the point here is there's change, but we're still the pioneers here, which means we have to, be doing a little bit extra here, right? So, but the good news here is so much to be done. And it's not just about, like I thought a career at sea meant you had to be on a ship and learn to navigate, which, by the way, I loved it. But today I need people who understand how ships work, but who love technology. And I don't need strong, muscular men as it was in the past. I just need talented individuals who are passionate about solving good, big problems. And that's missing. The awareness of that is not there, right? So I think we can make this industry far more attractive.
Okay, Stewart.
Yeah, I would agree, and I also think that perhaps not revolution, but as I said, evolution. And I think the evolution, even I love history and I love centering people. I think, we had vessels before we had wheels, right? We were connected to the water. This is how we traded. This is how we connected. And I think there were long periods of where that connection still remained very clear between a city and a port, or a company and a port, and a harbor side, a coastal area, a community. And I think we got away from that. And I also think that part of the evolution was good in the sense of how we traded and how the ships moved. So I think part of this evolution now, and this gets a little bit to both of what they said, is if technology is going to support it, how do we then put the human element back in what ports do? How do we do more to connect them? We have been working on the Blue Glue initiative for a couple of years. The idea there is to make sure that ports, cities, academia, workforce development, finance, all of it kind of works together and reconnects the ports in some cases where they're separated. And those kinds of technologies that some people are a little afraid of right now find a way to be connected to the work and the future of the port. So for me, it's an evolution. It's kind of a natural one, but I think we also have things we can do and be very specific about bringing those worlds back together.
Okay, you were talking about technologies. I want to know, from your point of view, the technologies that are most used right now in this maritime, blue economy, port sectors. You're an expert on blockchain and in AI. You see a lot of you accelerate companies, startups that are applying different technologies. And you, Stewart, you see how corporate companies use those technologies once the projects are more mature. So what's hot today? Giving real solutions. Go deeper. Don't say only AI or blockchain, but go into more what solutions or what industries is this affecting? And the second part of the question is this only for maritime, or we will see some of these companies, startups, scale-ups, applying solutions to other industries that are not so the traditional operations, port, supply chain?
Yeah, I'll take the second part of the question first, because I think for both World Ocean Council and Octopus, it's really important. Reef to roof literally means that if you develop something in or near the water, it may work in a city, it may work in an agricultural situation. So The reverse is also true because plastics don't come out of the ocean. PFAS and agricultural runoff don't come out of the ocean, although could argue that some do. They come to the ocean, they come into our rivers, they come into our lakes. And so for me, there's the second part of the question gets to making sure that if you're developing something that helps, can it help in other places? That's the replication part of Octopus, in fact. But I think also for World Ocean Council, when we look at, going to your first question a little bit too, technology could be something, for instance, I'm a lifelong sailor. I love wind propulsion, but that's not a new technology. The irony is that there's new ways of doing wind propulsion that large companies are now purchasing or building themselves because they want to be more vertically integrated. So you see sometimes a wind propulsion company that starts very small and has additive pieces with other corporations, and then a big shipping company then installs them on their ships, and that puts the entire supply chain kind of together. The innovation is wind, ironically, and wind propulsion for ships at sea or for ferries, right? So for me, that innovation doesn't always mean invention. It means innovating on what we have and connecting these pieces together. So the technology is really important in that sense.
Okay.
Yep.
Wants to go next?
Yeah, so for me, a lot of what you're, so let me just bring up on the wind propulsion side. One of the things that's interesting is the integration of stronger intelligence around hardware solutions, right? So we're seeing what a sailor from 500 years ago would intuitively know about predicting what's happening, a kilometer out, is now using very sophisticated modeling and predictive analytics to understand very, very minute changes in weather patterns and wind patterns to be able to optimize. We see, again, this sort of deeper going from just data collection. If you just do the DIKW model, right, from data to information to knowledge to wisdom, that is happening all the way through with what you're doing in a more maybe other industries in the tech sector. We see it in the maritime and ocean space because we're getting better data. And what's so interesting about port environments is they're so complex, right? You've got marine energy, you've got offshore wind, you've got ships moving, you've got whale strike avoidance, you've got coastal storms and erosion, and all of this. So when you're looking at very complex digital twins and modeling technologies, this is what is so exciting to me, is to be able to look to get insights and solve problems that we couldn't do before. But because of computing power and advances, we can.
Yeah. So for me, it's first statement is that technology is the enabler. So we have to be careful with just going this. Otherwise, it becomes an R&D thing, and innovation means value, and hopefully somebody's paying for that value, right? So this is important. What I see is actually these very advanced technologies. We call them deep tech, right? Mm-hmm. Blockchain, AI, but there are many, many, many more, right? Nanotech, etc.
Quantum.
Robotics, quantum, all these things. I see really you've got to build 100% solutions. You've got to solve a real problem. And if you go with one technology, you may be having a piece, but it won't, right? So I talked about the reducing waiting time problem, right, earlier. Now, in that problem, we are focusing on bunkering of ships, fueling of ships, right? So a big ship comes, another big ship comes and fuels this other ship, right? Now, that is a process which can be very dangerous because there's fuel being pumped from a pipe from one place to that in the middle of the ocean sometimes. So there are regulatory processes, there's data, you have forms to fill, signatures. Now, here is where the blockchain can help with the security of the data, right? But the initial part of coordination required the algorithm with data and AI machine learning to come together. So if you want to solve a real problem, you've got to have all these pieces, right? So I'm more like, you really have to think holistically. And usually I think most of the stuff is invented somewhere and it's lying there in a shelf. So you got to, the The magic is how do we bring that in an efficient way and make it work, right? So the many things emerging, right? But can you apply that? That should be the test. And this is where the port, Emma and team come in, because at least they're listening to us and helping us and guiding us through the complex organizations, which is a lot of value, by the way.
Okay,
Yeah,
so now you
and I was just going to say, it was actually, I won't say the person's name, but it was a former deputy mayor that I was working with here in Barcelona in 2016, 2017, and we were talking about smart cities and technology and climate. And I'll never forget, he said, I love the technology, I love the smart cities, but to what end? Why do I have it? Why am I using it? What's the change it will affect? How will it help my people? I work for the city, right? And I've never forgotten that. I was at COP in Bonn and having a meeting, and he said, tell me what the real change will be, because otherwise it's just amazing technology. And I think that's important for ports as well.
Totally. So now you spoke about the deputy mayor, and you also talked about Port of Barcelona. Let me ask you, because you're based in LA, your company headquarters in Singapore, and World Ocean Council was based in the US and moved to Barcelona. So tell me about why coming to work here at the Port of Barcelona, why Barcelona? Also, is the fact that Barcelona is a port city a factor here, or it doesn't play, it's not a factor? And yeah.
Yeah, I can go. I think, so one of the initiatives that has been started at the national level is the Ports 4.0. And there you need some ports to support you. And the Port of Barcelona has been very proactive in seeking innovation. The other aspect for companies like ours, our assets are the people. We have a lot of talented people. So most of our people are actually computer engineers, not sailors like me, right? And this is a wonderful place to get talent to come, right? And so I think that for me has been key, because people are choosing a quality of life, right? And so I think from Barcelona, you can do a lot of stuff for the world. And it's a beautiful place to attract people as well.
So for us, we opened here 1 year ago. Certainly, funding like Ports 4.0 is important, but it's also, if you're going to be working with startups around ports, they're typically not going to just grow regionally or geographically in one area, but they might be working in Singapore one time and expand to Barcelona, then they want to work with us in Los Angeles or some combination thereof. So that not only is Barcelona as a port city important, but particularly the Port of Barcelona, the commitment to Blue Tech Port, the connection with other global ports looking at best practices is really critical for us, and having that network that goes both to Barcelona and beyond. So many times when you're in a community, the goal is to just bring startups to one location and hold on really tight. That doesn't work with port technology. You have to be global. And I think the port has shown that as a gateway to the Mediterranean, as having more global events really does, you walk the walk.
Yeah, as you know, because you were part of the process, and this is before I joined World Ocean Council, we established the headquarters here in 2022, and with that decision came the realization, or the recognition, I should say, that the city and the port and the ecosystem and stakeholders were moving in the same direction.
Okay.
And the gamble or the choice at that point was, all of them are moving forward in this blue economy direction. It's also very clear from the city side and the urban resilience side of the work that I did here previously. So at least for us, there's that connectivity. And we can export that, but we can also bring others here to Barcelona. And that's the whole point, really, of both sides of the work that I'm doing.
Okay, we have 5 seconds. Just one last question. You have to be very quick, very fast. It's you have a magical wand, and you can make something change totally in 24 hours. what would you change of what's going on today that you want to change in the innovation world you have right now? And we're out of time.
Did they give us, oh no.
No, no,
That's for the next panel.
no way. We're not speaking 30 more
I would say
minutes.
this. I would say this. This isn't my usual answer, but and I said this before. If we can manage an energy transition, a lot changes. Many, many, many other things change. So for me, in 24 hours, if I could change how we power things,
Okay.
the rapid advancement in so many other ways for humans, for nature, frankly, which I care a lot
Energy
about.
transition is too big. You have to narrow it down for
I
next
am,
time.
Okay,
And
so I would improve the process. Once we have successful pilots, we need a clear and fast transition to implement and scale.
okay.
For me, it's much simpler. We should have high quality data available so that we can actually do something from that.
So with that high quality data, I'm sure you would go from a scale up to a corporate quite fast, huh? Okay.
Fingers crossed. Yes.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry for
Thank
the
you.
time we took away from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.